Hey Jesse, hey YouTube, I've got a lot to cover today, and so let's get right to it. Hey Jesse, I'm going to answer these questions really quick because I don't have a lot of time in this video, but my favorite video game is Zelda Ocarina of Time, not just because of the story and everything, but the nostalgia that it brings. How long have I been playing? I actually got a late start, and so I've only been playing since I was like 12 or so, and I'm now 24, almost. Do I agree with you that gamers are the most acceptable geek subculture? Absolutely. You can tell because they're the biggest. They have, as Steve will say later in the interview, subcultures among subcultures because you get the RPGers and the first person shooters and everything like that. Um, so, yes, I do believe that they are the most socially acceptable. Today I'm going to be talking about the video game geek subculture with emphasis on the role of geek and gamer girls, mostly spurred by a blog. Do I believe there is a video game geek subculture? Well, how can you not? There are actually a lot of geeks who don't like to play video games because they take up a lot of time, they take up a lot of effort, they take up a lot of money. So there's a lot of reasons why there are geeks out there who don't like to play video games. Not every geek likes to play video games, and I think that's a common misconception. If you identify yourself as a geek to someone, then they immediately think, oh, well, you obviously know what the next first person shooter to be released is going to be and how it's going to relate to Halo in some way, shape, or form. But that's not necessarily true. Not everybody is a gaming geek. Now, I personally am what I would consider a gaming geek. Like I said in my first video, the one I most identify with is the roleplay subculture, but I do also identify with the video game geek subculture because I love video games. It's like those books you read when you're a kid, the make your own adventure books, only it's got pretty graphics. So the reason why I'm going to put emphasis on gamer girls is actually because of a blog I read. I ran across this blog, and it was called a geek feminism blog, and so I just had to read it because feminist blogs usually crack me up. First of all, I want to say that as far as feminism goes, I'm on neither side of the issue. I like a comfortable middle. Okay, so from what I've read, this lady named Matanera wrote it. I'm probably horribly mispronouncing that, and I apologize. The blog is about this video that a group of people in Hollywood made. They call themselves Team Unicorn, and the video is a parody of Katy Perry's song California Girls, which I also find to be very degrading, but that's neither here nor there at the moment. But the parody is called Geek and Gamer Girls, and it's not terribly original. I think it's a poor excuse for a video overall, but that's not the point either. The point the blogger was trying to make was that the video was terribly sexist because it involves a lot of stereotypically pretty white girls bouncing around scantily clad, or in some scenes not clad at all, with little gamer related paraphernalia covering their bits. And I have to agree that is very sexist, but I think she needs to chill. Okay, so the blog goes on to talk about how being a geek or a gamer or a woman does not define her. And I beg to differ with her there. It actually does define you. She talks about how they're parts of a whole, and that's exactly it. I mean, you have to look at the parts to define the whole. There aren't a lot of things in this world that can be defined by their whole. I mean, I just find it interesting that she makes a point that being a woman doesn't define her, yet she goes on in this blog about her pride in being a woman and the fact that she doesn't feel she needs to pander to men to be a woman and to be a geek or a gamer girl. I don't think that you can go on about how being a woman is just part of your whole and be a feminist. To me, that seems fundamentally contradictory. Here's where I agree with her. She said that the video was pandering to the male vision of what is sexy and their idea of having a geeky gamer chick to talk about anime and video games with, who's also got the 36, 24, 36 going on. The fact is that there are a lot of different types of gamer girls. And she makes a point in her blog to say that gamer girls do come in all shapes, sizes, ethnicities, sexual orientations, everything. And I agree with her there. I think that the hot gamer girl has been stressed a little too much, and I'm sick of it. I've always been the girl who's into the guy things like video games, and unfortunately it is sort of a guy thing. It is and has been a male-centric society for a long time now, though that is changing. But I've been that geeky girl who guys are like, wow, you're a girl and you're into all this other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I like it. But I've never been a hot gamer chick. When I started getting into boys, and the geeks and gamers were all that surrounded me, of course I was attracted to some of them, but I was never acceptable. I was always one of the guys. Which I think is bullshit, because I saw it happen. I would bring a friend around, such as this friend I have that I'm not going to name. She's about this big around, and she's into a lot of the same stuff I am. And the minute I brought her around, the guys were falling over each other to get a chance at her. Just because she's closer to what is considered traditionally attractive. My point is that neither have it right. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox because I have an interview with a gamer geek named Steve. Today I have Steve with me to talk about gaming geeks and the gaming geek subculture, specifically video games. So my first question for you is, what first got you started playing video games, and how long have you been playing?
I started with Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers, when it was released in late 1985. I was 4.5. So that would be 25 years.
So my second question is, do you have a favorite video game? And why is it your favorite video game?
I'm not really sure I have a favorite video game. I kind of like multiplayer games that are online because you're playing with other people. If I had to pick a favorite out of all of those, I would have to say EverQuest because it was the original big one.
Third question. Do you think that there is a gaming geek subculture underneath the broader geek culture?
Yeah. Gaming geek culture is actually a pretty broad subculture. It has lots of different subcultures within the subculture. You have gaming geeks, you have tabletop geeks, you have live-action role-playing geeks. There's all kinds of gaming geeks. So, yeah, it is a subculture.
Okay, and that leads to my fourth question. Do you identify with the gaming geek subculture, and why?
I think I identify with the broad gaming geek subculture because I like games. I like video games the most. But I'll do tabletop, I'll do board games, dice games, card games, video games, live-action role-playing games. If it's a game, I like it.
It's a fair answer. Thank you for letting me interview you today.
No problem. Can we go get level 10 now?
Yes.
Yay. 2 forms.